The new cases in COVID are because of unvaccinated folks. The unvaccinated is who we need to focus on. Y'all get them to start taking the shot. It's their job to take care of themselves. Folks supposed to have common sense, but it's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks. It's the unvaccinated folks that are letting us down.
I don't know why the turn of events. Not only has it been DeSantis that we've seen, I forgot who it was that we just saw recently speak in a different manner as well. I don't know what has caused them to change their mind, but I'm happy that they did because they're changing their mind and they're helping change the narrative. I don't care about what caused it, but this can possibly save a lot of people's lives.
The Republicans, their impetus around a lot of things that they do come from polling. So when they poll and where they see where their base is at, that's when they'll start changing their tune on things, and they double down on it. Look how they double down on the critical race theory. That came from a poll that they've seen, and when President Trump made his comments then. And so you look at what's happening now. They put a poll out. They want to know where their people are. When family members start dying and things like that, it goes directly in a totally different direction, especially when these people are like, yo, wait a minute, man, you're messing up my business. If we got to go back in lockdown because these numbers are getting this way, it becomes a real issue, right? And so now they're looking at their money and they're looking at their base.
Based on the science of it all and the numbers, it's not surprising that what you're saying to us is that this uptick is happening in primarily Republican areas where people refuse to wear the mask, they refuse to be vaccinated. And so again, you have to understand, we watched Trump with -45 when COVID first hit, how he just nonchalantly addressed the issue. And again, we saw hundreds of thousands of lives being lost as a result of that. So now when you look at these areas and people have fed into this narrative from not only Trump, but from Fox News, from Republicans all over this country, that you don't need to be vaccinated. You don't need to wear the mask. Well, check this out, family. If you don't change your behavior, sooner rather than later, you're going to meet the savior.
It actually is spreading. What you said is true. Like, they do respond to polling, because now the governor of Alabama, she's coming. And listen, I'm not going to knock them. At this point, if y'all going to help save some lives, I'm down with it. Let's take a look at this first clip from the governor of Alabama changing her tune.
County officials here today didn't put out a mask mandate, but they strongly encourage people in certain situations to wear face coverings. Do you have any plans to issue any kind of mask mandate or any other safety measures?
Let's be crystal clear about this issue. And media, I want you to start reporting the facts. The new cases in COVID are because of unvaccinated folks. Almost 100% of the new hospitalizations are with unvaccinated folks. And the deaths are certainly occurring with unvaccinated folks, self-inflicted pain. We've got to get folks to take the shot. The vaccine is the greatest weapon we have to fight COVID. There's no question about that. I've taken the shot back in December, both shots. The unvaccinated is who we need to focus on. Y'all get them to start taking the shot. It's their job to take care of themselves and us as well. We can't do that for them. All we can do is everybody take the shot themselves.
That's my first time hearing her voice. She sounds like she's straight from the bayou.
Real slave master.
She sounds like she's straight from the bayou, like straight from
giving me slave master. It's giving. I don't know. Let's go ahead and I want to play that second clip. I want to hear that one.
Run the second clip real quick, David.
What would it take for you to implement a mask mandate?
I want folks to get vaccinated. That's the cure. That prevents everything. Why we want to mess around with just temporary stuff? We don't need to encourage people to just go halfway. You know what it takes to get it done unless you get a shot in your arm.
What is it going to take to get people to get shots in arms?
I don't know. You tell me. Folks supposed to have common sense. But it's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks. It's the unvaccinated folks that are letting us down.
Senator Jones, what are your thoughts?
Listen, you won't hear me complaining about that and them encouraging people to get vaccinated. I'm going to take your sentiments. I wish this was the conversation we were having last May. Not as far as vaccination is concerned, at least encouraging people to wear masks. But when the vaccination came out, I wish that was the tune that they were speaking of. And people they can say whatever they want to say about President Biden and his administration right now. But the one thing you can't take away from him, and I was talking to one of my Republican colleagues, and he said it best himself. He said, what we can't take away from him is that he was able to clean up the mess that was made from, I like what Brother Max said, negative 45 when he was in office, and how they dealt with this public health crisis. Because truth be told, we were about to go into a total recession again because of the amount of businesses that were closed, the amount of people who were dying, the amount of people who were sick. And so, listen, if it's a public safety issue, also becomes an economic crisis, like we just saw, like we're trying to come out of.
Yeah. But I don't know if this resonated with all of you, but the thing that jumped out to me, and again, the game is chess, not checkers. Look at the narrative that they're now trying to spin, and the narrative being is self-inflicted. See, the Republican Party and Trump, they all just spoke negatively about getting vaccinated. They spoke negatively about the mask. But now that the numbers are coming in, and again, believe what that great poet laureate Jay-Z told us, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Now that they see that high death toll of numbers based on their narrative, they're now beginning to spin it by saying it's self-inflicted. No, this ain't self-inflicted. This is what I believed you when I was watching Fox News. I believed you, Governor of Alabama. I believed you, Governor of Florida. You told me I ain't have to worry about it. Trump told me this was this like the Asian flu. This ain't no different than the flu. Now that those deaths are coming in, because trust and believe, COVID and its new twin, that variant, they're undiscriminatory. They don't care. They don't care about your race or your sex. They're coming to get you. But what we're beginning to hear, and I want us to listen very closely to all of them. I imagine if we go back and listen to the governor of Florida, you're going to hear this self-inflicted. You're doing this to yourself. That's the new narrative that they're spinning.
Senator Jones.
Well, the biggest fight right now is that in Florida, we're about to go back into legislative session, which starts on January 11th. Committee week starts September 20th. And this is going to have to be something we deal with, not only just COVID. We're going to deal with CERSI. I know my Republican colleagues are going to deal with critical race theory. And so we're going to deal with all of this stuff that's coming up in this legislative session. But I hope that when we go back to Tallahassee in the next couple of weeks, that their main topic that we're going to deal with is going to be how we're going to deal with this public health crisis that we're in right now, with Florida leading the country in the most COVID cases.
But for Senator Jones, I would ask that the moment they start that narrative about this being self-inflicted, that you and others stand up and say, no. In order to solve this problem, we first must understand, in order to come up with a solution, we first must understand how we got to this problem. And we got to this problem because this party was the party that was anti-vaccine, anti-mask. So please do not allow them to bring that narrative in about this being self-inflicted and people simply made the choice not to get the vaccine. They followed their lead. So please, every time one of your Republican colleagues brings this up, I am begging that you challenge the narrative of it being self-inflicted.
You got it. Listen, you got me all worked up. I'm about to send my talking points to you to approve before my staff put it on my desk.